everyone. Welcome to HOA Fight Club. Today on our educational series, I've been having some technical difficulties. So if you're unable to respond or interact today, it's just because of my issues. But I do want to go over this and actually give this course because I think it's important to understand the financial, physical, and emotional tolls that an HOA can take. Those of us that have lived in it, that have gone through everything like I have, going through a lawsuit and suing my association, it was more than just the financial and that toll. It was just such an emotional toll. So we're going to start with the financial. So in an association, everybody purchases in, you understand that you're going to have to pay HOA dues. So dues is very understandable. Those dues pay for the common areas, repairs. If you're in a condo association, they pay for a lot more than what an HOA should pay for. HOA is just going to pay for the regular common areas, not your yard, not your land, not your home, but they do have a lot to say about how you can do your home. So let's talk about how you can do your home. I had a homeowner that purchased a home. Within the first couple of years, they painted the home. They had gotten permission, the HOA had recommended that they paint the home. So they painted it. The next year, the HOA came back and wanted them to paint again. Well, why is that reasonable? How can an association board think it's reasonable to have a homeowner paint his home every year? If that's the way the rules are set up, then that association board can cause a homeowner a lot of financial damage. Painting a home can charge, $5,000 to $7,000, sometimes more. Homeowners don't have this. And if they're being demanded to do this, that's something that they have to budget for. Just like the board has to budget the reserves and what they're going to fix and repair in the future, so does a homeowner. And we should have that courtesy also. Now, when you start adding fines to the situation, those fines also come with other fees, attorney's fees, late fees, percentage rates. I know there's some percentage rates in HOA are like 21 to 28%, which I think is just, we should not even have an interest rate for an HOA. I think that's just so wrong. If you're past due on your assessments, you need to be able to go to somebody. You need to be able to ask for payment arrangements. You need to have a good conversation with your board so that you do not lose your home. I always tell everybody, make sure you pay your HOA condo association dues first, even before your mortgage, because the association can foreclose and will foreclose on you faster than your mortgage can. Now let's talk about special assessments. So when you move into this association, you're under the impression that everything's perfect. They haven't really disclosed anything that's bad. But what I found is that most condo associations a lot of them don't apply for permits. So when they don't apply for permits, they just make these corrections or these repairs, and they're not using licensed contractors or bonded. So that hurts the homeowners, because if there is damages in the future, how do homeowners get these repairs fixed? So we are responsible for those. So if there's no special assessment, or if you have to charge a special assessment, that could be a $50,000 special assessment. I have one that has a $3 million special assessment, on these homeowners. And I mean, it increases their dues like $3,000 a month. And it's just, how do our seniors, our, fixed income families, how are all these people affording to live in associations like that? The reason that people move into condo associations is because they're cheaper than having to buy a home. But there's also no cap on dues. So when they say that your dues is this amount every year, in most condo associations, can increase your dues no matter how much they want. In Washington state, it takes 51% of the homeowners to show up, present or by proxy, to vote down a budget. So the board can approve any budget they want every single year, because you're never going to get that kind of participation because the board doesn't give notice or blah, blah, blah. It just doesn't work. The homeowners are not being allowed to participate. And now that it's on Zoom, I see that the homeowners are being cut out completely. They are given no time to speak, or they're being cut off. I've worked with legislation, and our legislators are not rude. They are not evil people. They do not cut off people that are testifying in the middle of their testimony. And we are under time constraints in that, but we have a right to speak. And I expect that from homeowners associations and from condo associations. If the condo association doesn't do its duty like they did in mine with the water intrusion and the mold, they didn't do any repairs. They didn't want to do any repairs. They didn't offer to do any repairs. They denied, delayed, and deflected all repairs because it cost me. I paid for the inspections. I paid for everything to prove that it was their responsibility. Instead of them sending in an insurance company adjuster, both of our insurance companies meeting together and deciding we need insurance reform on these condo associations. Condo associations, the homeowners required to have insurance, and so's the condo association. So these two insurance companies should have to figure out who's responsible, not the homeowners. They shouldn't have to sue their own selves and their association and their friends and family to get the insurance company to do repairs. And if it isn't the insurance responsibility, then it comes from a common area and it is the common area that caused the damages, those repairs need to be done promptly by the association instead of making us suffer in these conditions. Why is it okay to make HOA and condo homeowners suffer in their own homes? That is the financial. And as you can hear, that is also the emotional part of this. Let's talk about the physical. So when I had the water intrusion, of course, we had tons of mold coming into our home. We had air blowing through our home. We were constantly freezing. We were physically ill from the damages caused by the association. We still have mold infections. We have to be very careful around mold. We're both allergic to it now. And it causes damages. Mold causes damages to your brain, to your memory. I've had to go into oxygen chambers to get my memory, my brain to be active and working properly after being in such, dire straits with the mold and everything. So, and then you have no sleep because you're constantly trying to figure out what's going to happen next, what you're going to fight next. I still do not sleep at night because I am fighting people's battles in my head all the time, and why it's unfair and how I'm going to take this to another level where we have national representation and national acknowledgement of the unfair and unconstitutional laws that the government has allowed our legislators to write. There's not supposed to be any law above the Constitution. And I was reading through the Arizona laws today. They were talking about it, and they were talking about HOAs being above the Constitution, that it's actually legal to make these associations above the Constitution. And my first question is, especially in Arizona and Washington State, you can't sign away your constitutional rights. So it's just such a conundrum that these government things, they make up all these rules that they can't make up, and they should be held liable for the laws that they create, which is what I'm trying to do. Lawyers should not be creating laws to benefit them. They should not be creating laws to help them foreclose non-judicially on people. They shouldn't be creating laws that only they profit from. Only they profit from these unethical and rogue boards doing what they do. This causes us physical illness. We are physically ill. We have so many things that go on with us when we are not being taken care of. When the property is not being taken care of, the association, people slip and fall. They have, damages, and then they have to fight the association through this unjust system of the civil courts to get anything done that they're supposed to do. So the other thing that I have on here is the emotional that toll it takes. I still am very emotional over HOA and condo. I have the emotions. I feel those emotions daily. I get a lot of anxiety, which causes heartburn, which causes so many different things. HOA syndrome is real. There was days that I dreaded going to the mailbox because I was afraid to get a letter from the association board. I still deal now with a lot of people and I take on their emotions. I'm an empathetic person. So every client that I help with their HOA, I actually take on their emotions and their feelings. And I also have to worry about my husband taking on the emotions of everyone because he still has that anxiety and the post-traumatic stress disorder from this. He has been in a lot of counseling. He did go through a whole year of counseling for this is one of his issues, and it's just been really hard to let go. Once you're out of HOA, you still worry about those left behind. And I worry about those people left behind all the time. It's cruel to leave people in these dire straits, knowing that there's nobody out there that will help them. There's no attorneys that will represent us for free. There's no one identifying the failures in the laws and trying to make better laws. They are taking advantage of these laws. Attorneys are using these laws to profit from the demise of homeowners. And we have to worry about that because this is in our homes. This isn't just our business. This is our home, our sanctuary, and where we're supposed to be to regroup and get our family together and spend the time with our family. And we shouldn't have to spend all these extra days and hours worrying about a rogue board stealing money from us or fining us. Participation in these condo associations and HOAs, if you're going to make them mandatory, make them mandatory. You want to make the most important thing mandatory, make the annual meetings mandatory, whether it's by Zoom or whatever. Everybody should have to show up and vote in those annual meetings. You know, I know that the CCNRs require all these things from homeowners. We get fined for everything, but they don't require us to show up to the meetings because they don't want us there. They don't want you to participate. They don't want you to be educated. The attorneys can't make money if the homeowners are educated and holding their boards accountable. You have the right to speak to your board personally. You do not need to go through an attorney to talk to your board. Those board members are obligated to you. It is their job, that they're the ones entitled to you, not the property manager, not the attorneys. So make sure that your board is doing what they're supposed to do, hold them accountable. That helps with the emotional part, and keeping your emotions out of the letters that we write and trying to be professional is really hard. But again, that's something that we have to do as homeowners. We don't want to look like we're just being petty and blaming the board for our problems, because we're not. There are legitimate issues of HOA. The Washington state legislators have identified those issues and see them. I've been contacted by other people from many different states this last week. And I think a lot of people are waking up to the point that we need to say no more. And what we allow to continue will continue. I'm going to keep making these educational series, and I apologize for today for not having the technical know-how to make sure that this is working properly. For some reason, it wanted to block everything or everyone. And plus there's a hurricane out there, tropical storm. So that could possibly be part of it. But I am here for everyone. I know sometimes I can't help you. If you would like to make donations to HOA Fight Club, you can go on to HOA Fight Club and make a donation, and they are really appreciated. My goal in the future is to be able to help homeowners deal with their associations and it not have to cost anything. That if people can't afford an attorney to defend them, that my nonprofit will be able to at some point someday afford to have an attorney, to pay for an attorney to represent the homeowners. It's really, really a sad situation that we don't have legislators and attorneys and lawyers and all those people trying to make good laws for the people so that we don't have to go to civil court. Justice shouldn't be for the wealthy only. And that's the way it is for HOA. If you can't afford to take them to civil court, which we all know is a minimum of $10,000 to $15,000, then you just are out of luck. And those are the kind of laws that aren't fair and equal and are lawyers should be identifying those failures in the law. They should identify that homeowners need help and that there is nobody out there that will represent them at a low to no income. And it's just unfair. This shouldn't be all about making profits off the people. It should be about helping the people. And that is part of an ethics of an attorney, is to identify the failures in the laws. So I know that we have a lot of legislators that are not identifying those failures and allowing people to take the advantage of those laws for profit. So hopefully we can stop that. And with this educational series, we can educate everybody in what their rights are. And not just their rights, not legal rights, but the CC&Rs and how you have a right to stand up and speak for yourself. You have a right to stand up and defend your home. You don't need an attorney for that. You just need an attorney to go to civil court. And we shouldn't be going to civil court with these associations because there's no reason to. Going to civil court, having litigation, having lawsuits costs the association money. It costs them for attorneys. So if they're paying for attorneys to say no for repairs, they should be obligated just to do those repairs. It would make more sense to enforce repairs than to enforce these attorneys' fees on these homeowners. That would be what's fair. All right, you guys, I will see you on the next one. Hopefully we can have a great conversation. I am planning on doing more of an open meeting on the next one. So when I do offer this one, it's just going to be an open thing to kind of go over what we've discussed in this last couple of these series. So it'll be kind of an interesting thing to have just everybody on for a discussion. And I think it'll be a good thing. So, all right, you guys, I'll see you on the next one.